Hello students, today we shall see the next point of Linux basics, that is basic file attributes. File attributes are settings associated with computer files that grant or deny certain rights to how a user or the operating system can access that file. So depending upon the attributes of the file, the user or the operating system can use that particular file. What is read-only? It allows a file to be read, but nothing can be returned to the file or changed. So when a file is read-only, we can only read the file. We cannot write or make any changes to that particular file. Archive. What is an archive? It tells the operating system to back up the file. Next is a system file. These files are usually related to the operating system. And last are the hidden files, which are not shown when doing regular ls command. So in Linux, when you give the ls command, you will be able to see the contents of the directory, that is which files are included in that particular directory. But if there are some hidden files in that directory, you will not be able to see them. Okay. Next we shall discuss each attribute of file in detail. You can see all the attributes of a file when we use the ls-l command. The first attribute of the file is file type and permission. The first column, that is this, shows the type and permissions associated with each file. The first character in this column is mostly hyphen. Okay, so this is the first column. If the file is an ordinary file or a regular file, we will be able to see a hyphen over here. So hyphen indicates that the file is an ordinary file. If it is a directory, in this first column you will see D. If it is a socket file, you will see it is S. And if it is a link file, you will see it as an L. Okay, so this is about the first column, which tells you the file type. This remaining part of the first column will be with regards to the permissions. A file can have three types of permissions: read, write and execute. Read, designated as an R, allows a file to be read but nothing can be returned to or changed in the file. Write, designated as a W, allows file to be returned to and changed. Execute, designated as an X, allows files to be executed by user or the operating system. They are specified in the order user, group and others. This file permissions is divided into three parts. The first three belong to the user, the next three belong to the group and the next three belong to others. Here we have seen an example. These first three characters tell us about the permission of a user. The next three group tells us the permission about the group, and the last three tells us about the permission of others. In this given example, we can see that the user has the read and write permission but has not execute permission. The group has read and write permission but not execute permission, and others has only read permission but not write and execute permission. So this is about the first file attribute, that is file type and permissions. The second file attribute, which you can see over here, in this example it is 1. It indicates the link. The second column indicates the number of links associated with the file. This is actually the number of file names maintained by the system of that file. So in this case, this file has only one link. The third attribute is the ownership. that is the name of the owner who has created the particular file. When you create a file, you automatically become its owner. Similarly, you can create, modify or remove files in a directory if you are the owner of the directory. So in this case, in this given example, work folder is a directory. How do we understand that this work folder is a directory? You can see that its first column has a D. So when you are the owner of a particular directory, you can create, modify and remove files from your particular directory. The next attribute is the group ownership. When opening a user account, the system administrator also assigns the user to some group. So in this given example, the group ownership or the name of the group is users. This next, the numbers which you can see over here are nothing but the file size. The size of the file in bytes. The amount of data it contains. It is only a character count of the file and not a measure of the disk space that it occupies. Next, what you can see over here is the last modification time. The last modification time of the file which is stored to the nearest second. A file is said to be modified only if its contents have changed in any way. Okay, so this is nothing but the time when the file was modified. And the last attribute is the name of the file. That is the name which you give when you have saved that particular file. So this is all about the basics of file attributes. Next we'll move on to meta characters. When you give the shell abbreviated file names that contain special character or meta characters, the shell can generate file names that match the names of existing files. Now what are meta characters? Characters that have a special meaning to the shell are known as meta characters. For example, in DOS, if you give the dir *.c file, it will show you the list of all the files having the extension .c. So that asterisk means a number of any number of or any name of the file. So that asterisk is nothing but a meta character. These special characters are also referred to as wildcard characters or wildcards. When one of these special character appears in an argument on the command line, the shell expands that argument into a list of file names and passes the list to the program that the command line calls. File names that contain these special characters are called ambiguous file references because they do not refer to any one specific file. The process that the shell performs on these file names is called path name expansion or globbing. Okay, when that particular meta character will be expanded and you will be able to see the list of files which match with that are known as, or that process is known as globbing. Ambiguous file references allow you to refer to a group of files with similar names quickly, saving you the effort of typing the names individually. So we shall see the first meta character, which is a question mark. It is a special character that causes the shell to generate file names. It matches any single character in the name of an existing file. So you can see an example over here. We have given ls memo question mark. This question mark can be substituted by any one single character. The shell expands the memo question mark argument and generates a list of files in the working directory that have names composed of memo followed by any single character. Okay, so this question mark will be substituted by only one character. It can be a special character, it can be a number, it can be an alphabet. So this question mark special character refers to one character. This question mark can substitute one character. Next meta character is asterisk. The asterisk performs a function similar to that of the question mark, except that it matches any number of characters including 0 character in a file name. So we shall see here an example. We have to list all the files who starts with CHAP, and after that we can have as many characters as you want, so that is represented by asterisk. So this asterisk can be substituted by 0 or more characters. So this CHAP can match with CHAP, which means it is substituted by 0 characters. It can be CHAP01, CHAP02 or any other characters. So file substitution wildcard for 0 or more characters. Next meta character is a square brackets, pair of square brackets. The pair of square brackets surrounding a list of characters causes the shell to match file names containing the individual character. So here is an example. We have given memo, and in square brackets we have given 17A. So this meta characters can represent memo 1, memo 7 or memo A. The brackets define a character class that includes all the character within the brackets. Each character class definition can replace only a single character within a file name. Within pair of square brackets, a hyphen defines a range of character within a character class definition. So in the given example we have given 6-n. This represents 4 numbers 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, instead of specifying all these numbers we can just give 6-n. Okay, so with this we finish with meta characters. In Linux we have 3 meta characters: question mark, asterisk and a pair of square brackets. Next we'll move on to a very important command in Linux, which is the chmod command. This command helps us to change the access permissions of files and directories. In Linux, access to the files is managed through the file permissions, attributes and ownership. This ensures that only authorized users and processes can access file and directories. A file or directory is created with a default set of permissions. The chmod, that is change mode, chmod stands for change mode, command is used to set the permission for one or more files for all 3 categories of users. That is, we can change the permission for user, group and others. It can be run only by the user and the super user. That is, we can change the permissions of the file only if we are the owner of that file or the owner of that directory. A super user can change the permissions of any directory and any files. The command can be used in two ways. In relative manner, by specifying the changes to the current permissions, and second, in an absolute manner by specifying the final permissions. Now we shall see each in detail. First we shall see the relative permissions. When changing permissions in a relative manner, chmod only changes the permissions specified in the command line and leaves the other permissions unchanged. In this mode, it uses the following syntax. What is the syntax? Chmod as it is, next followed with which category of users you want to change the permission. Next is the operation, that is whether you want to add a permission, remove a permission, etc. And next is permission, that is which permission, read permission, write permission or execute permission, and which file. So the syntax is chmod, category, operation, permission and file name. The expression contains three components. First is the user category, so it may be user, group and others. The operation to be performed, assign or remove a permission, the type of permission, read, write or execute permission, which we have already discussed. Now when using this particular command, we have to use some abbreviations, that is some short forms. So for category we have the short forms U for user, G for group, O for others, and if we want to change it for all these three categories, we are going to use A or we can use UGO. Okay, so in this particular previous command, this category, we can use the following abbreviations. The next is for operations. Plus will be to assign permission, minus will be to remove permission, and equal to assigns absolute permission, which we will see later. And permissions, R is used to read, W is used for write and X is used for execute. Now we shall see some few examples. To change directory permissions in Linux, so we are going to use this chmod command to change the directory permissions. Remember what I have said, directory permissions. To add permissions we are going to use, so this is chmod plus rwx. So it means I want to assign read, write and execute permission to this particular file name. So this is the syntax of how I will add permission. Now in this second case, chmod minus rwx directory name. Okay, so this means remove read, write and execute permission for this particular directory name. To allow executable permissions, I will use this syntax chmod plus x and which file name. To take out write and executable permission, I will give chmod minus wx and the file name. So it will remove the write and execute permission for this particular file name. The command for changing directory permission for group owner is similar, but add a G for group or O for owners. So here I have added G, that is category, group, and this is O for others. So this is category, operation, permission and file name. To change directory permission for everyone, use U for users, G for group, O for others, and UGO or A for all. So now in this case, change mode for all three categories, add RWX, that is read, write, execute permission for a particular folder name. This is the syntax to give read, write and execute permission to everyone. Okay, in the next example you can see here chmod, A stands for all, will be given read permission and the folder name. So this is the syntax used to give read only permission for everyone. Okay, now in this particular example we can see that the user has been given execute permission for this xstart file. Xstart is nothing but the name of the file. So the file needs to be executable only by the user. All these three examples, the meaning is same. We have added the execute permissions to all the three groups, that is user, group, others. A stands for all, and if you don't give anything, it means all. Chmod also accepts more than one file names in the command line. So here we have given chmod, user is given the execute permission for all these three files, note, note1 and note2. Chmod, group and others, we have removed the read permission for this xstart file to remove the read permission from both group and others. Chmod also accepts multiple expressions delimited by commas. So in this example we have given multiple expressions. In this case, remove execute permission from all and give read permission to group and others. More than one permission can also be set, so by using U plus RWX. So in this given example we have given write and execute permission to others, setting write and execute permission for others. This is all about relative permissions. Next we'll move on to absolute permissions. The expression used by chmod is a string of 3 octal numbers. Now in this case we are not going to use abbreviations, but we are going to use some numbers. Each type of permission is assigned a number. So read permission we are going to use 4, write permission we are going to use 2, and execute permission we are going to use 1. For each category we add the numbers that represent the assigned permissions. For example, 6 represents read and write, means read permissions 4 plus write permission 2. 4 plus 2, 6. Understood? So this 6 means 4 plus 2. And 7 represents all permissions, that is 4 plus 2, 6 plus 1, 7. So 7 represents all permissions. So in this given example we can see 6, 6, 6. This means first 6 refers to user, second refers to group, and third belongs to others. So first user is 6, that means the user has read and write permission. Second, group also has read permission and write permission. And third is also 6, that means others also have read permission and write permission. The 6 indicates read and write permission 4 plus 2. Now in this given example chmod 6445, this means the user has read and write permission, the group has only read permission, and others has only read permission. In this given example chmod 761 file name, this indicates all permissions for the user, read and write permission for group, and only execute permission for others. Assign all permission to the owner, read and write permission to the group and only execute permission to others. The expression 777 signifies all permissions for all categories, while 000 indicates absence of all permissions for all categories. Now we shall see the permission numbers. So if we have no permissions, it means it is 0. Only execute permission 1. Only write permission 2. Write and execute 3. Only read 4. Read and execute 5. Read and write 6. And all 3 permissions 7. So in this example we can see user has all permissions but group and others don't have any permissions. So with this syntax we'll give read, write and execute permission for the user only. In this given syntax we can give write and execute permission to the user. We can give only write permission to the others and all permission to the owners. So this syntax will give write and execute, that is 3 permission for the user, 2 write permission for group and read, write, execute for users. Thank you.